Mr. Fallon.
Here.
Mr. Garvin.
Here.
Mrs. Milano.
Here.
Mr. Vaccaro is absent. Mr. Biamonte.
Here.
And Mr. Nieves is absent. There it is.
Good evening, everyone. Tonight, I'm making a special presentation to a special young lady, and it gives me a great deal of pride because there are a variety of things that the State Department of Education puts out every year in terms of achievements that students can reach. And there's been something out there for about 10 years now in New Jersey. It's called the New Jersey State of Biliteracy Seal. And for 10 years, we have tried to get students to be encouraged to go for this achievement. And I'm so very happy to say that we have a young lady who satisfied those requirements this year. The Seal of Biliteracy essentially is, in one respect, demonstrating that you've reached all the graduation requirements as a New Jersey high school senior that's graduating. That takes care of the English language part. The second part is demonstrating fluency in another language. And in our young lady's case here, we did very well in our AP Spanish course and test, and therefore the state is giving her the Seal of Biliteracy. And another special thing about it, besides being our first, is that this credit, if you will, is accepted by many colleges and universities as a credit in one of their programs. There are 5 universities in New Jersey that accept it, and nationwide there are collectively about 37 to 38, and I assume that's going to grow over time. So I want to read the award, and then I'll call the young lady up. Certificate of Recognition presented by the State of New Jersey Department of Education. The State of New Jersey Department of Education awards the 2026 State Seal of Biliteracy in the Spanish language to Ms. Chloe Perez for successfully qualifying for the New Jersey Seal of Biliteracy approved by the Woodridge School District. It's signed by the Commissioner of Education, and I want to call up our very first recipient of the New Jersey State Seal of Biliteracy. Chloe, come on up. Stay there, stay there.
And stay. We are.
All right.
Congratulations, Chloe, and to your family. Congratulations. Huge accomplishment.
And she's a Penn Stater. I'm so happy about that.
Yeah, we're very proud as a board. You have another presentation?
Yes. At this time, it gives me great pleasure to introduce Melissa Del Rosso, who is our representative on the New Jersey School Board Association. And she's going to present for the board, as well as for our public, a presentation based upon strategic planning for a school district. So I'm going to ask the board members if we can assume a seat in the front. Ms. Del Rosso, when you're ready, it's all yours.
Okay, thank you. I just want to start off, since this is my first time here, for everybody, just to let you know, I am your New Jersey School Board Association Field Service Representative. I am here to support you as your FSR. So if you ever have any questions or need any support, about anything related to your board work and your board governance, please feel free to reach out to me. You can send me an email, you can give me a call. You do not need to go through your board president or your administration. I am here to support board members. Anything that you need, if you're trying to do some research or you have a question, save yourself the time, give me a call, let me do the work for you, okay? So I just wanted to let everybody know that. And also, if you will just give me 1 second, I also went into my office this week to, everybody has one of these. This is the little booklet of what we're going to talk about tonight. So you don't have to take any notes. Everything is in there about the strategic planning process. But I did have a little surprise on my desk, so I wanted to acknowledge that this evening. So if Richard wouldn't mind coming up for 1 second. Mr. Richard Fallon has obtained, through New Jersey School Board Association, the Certified Board Leader designation, which is the highest designation you can get from New Jersey School Board Association. So I just want to say the dedication to that is phenomenal, and I'm going to give you a quick idea of what that means. That means that he's done 60, at least, by the way, these are all at least, 60 board member academy credits, which means taking training courses and just all sorts of stuff on governance, policy, and finance as examples. He has served in a leadership position for at local, county, or state level for a minimum of 1 year. He's attended at least 10 county meetings, 3 annual school board association workshops, and 5 full-day statewide or regional programs, as well as passing either a test or providing a portfolio of his leadership work. So again, congratulations. That's phenomenal. And there's not a lot of people that have received that. So that says a lot. So congratulations. Okay, now on to the show. Here we go. All right, so tonight we're going to talk about the strategic planning process. And basically, it's your strategic planning process. And my role with New Jersey School Board Association would be to help you facilitate it. So I'm going to run through what the process is. It's pretty quick. It's pretty easy. If you have any questions, please don't hesitate to just stop me on the way. We don't have to save questions till the end, okay? That talks about New Jersey School Board Association and what we do. And again, just one more time on that note, New Jersey School Board Association is the membership association for all board members. So that is, again, your group. It's your group, and anything that you need, that's what I'm here to help you with. So tonight, what we're going to talk about is what the strategic plan is, the advantages of strategic planning, how to be a part of the process, and then we'll also have any wrap-up questions. But again, you can feel free to ask me as we go through them, okay? So strategic planning is creating an organization-wide mission and vision that directs, motivates, and inspires all members of the educational community to work together for the common good. The strategic plan is actually an opportunity for you to work with your community and really understand what it is that they want to see in the district. And when we're talking about community, we're talking about obviously the board members, we're talking about parents, we're talking about students, and it's really amazing when the students get involved in this process. It's phenomenal with some of the things that they come up with and the perspective you get to see. But as board members, this is an amazing opportunity for you to really be in touch with community members that you would not normally be able to talk to, or, you know, because they don't come in. Usually, when you don't have a huge turnout for meetings, that's a very good sign. It's a sign that things are going well in your district, right? We know that. And unfortunately, you kind of lose that touch. So the strategic planning, when you do that every 5 years, it gives you that opportunity to really understand what your community members are looking for. And again, it could be parents, it could be individuals with no children in the school. It could, you know, there's a lot of different pieces to your community member stakeholder groups, okay? There we go. No. Okay, so advantages of strategic planning is being proactive. Again, you're getting an idea of what your district is looking for, and I'm sure you realize a lot of what you do as board members, unfortunately, is a little bit more reactive, especially when community members are involved. When you do get a full house, it's usually because something is going on, good, bad, or indifferent, but it's in reaction to something that has occurred. This is an opportunity to be proactive, creative and innovative, so you get to hear some things that maybe you didn't think of. It's a planning process that's flexible, and we'll talk about that a little bit more. It provides a forum of participation for a complete cross-section of the community. As I mentioned, it creates an ongoing cycle of planning, assessment, and decision-making, because this is a live plan. It changes, you give updates. It's not something we do and then we dust it off in 5 years and start again. It optimizes limited resources, and it increases communication. It basically will keep your community aware of what you're doing. So clear focus on decision-making. It highlights the importance of good information for decision-making. It creates a district-wide vision and mission that directs, motivates, and inspires working together for the common good. And again, your vision is where you want to be, right? So from where you are now, where do you want to be in 5 years, and how are you going to get there? And that's all part of this process. So why do you plan? Is your school enrollment changing? Is the makeup of your school population changing? Are there more people in your community who don't have children in school? Would you benefit from a roadmap for the district's future? Okay. Are there changes in the family structure of your community? Is the economic structure of your community changing? And I can answer all of these are going to be yes, because it's everywhere. And again, whichever way it's changing in whatever direction isn't the point. The point is it's changing. Are the educational levels of the community changing? Is there competition for your public schools? Is limited funding impacting your programs and services? Well, we all know that's a big issue, right? This year's budget cycle was a nightmare for New Jersey. Okay, so if you answered yes, then strategic planning is for you. And I answered for you, so there you go. So how does this work? It creates a waterfall effect, okay? And that's basically the whole point of the strategic plan. We start our way, and it just all flows out. So from the goals and objectives of the strategic plan, you get your district goals, your board goals, your administrators' goals, your building goals, your department goals, teacher and classroom goals, student goals, and all of it ultimately is all going into student achievement. Everything we focus on has to do with student achievement. Sometimes I'll get, I'll have some people ask me the question of, well, we really need some facility stuff, but how are we tying that in with student achievement? Everything. I can pretty much tie everything you're doing to student achievement, because you need good facilities for students to be able to learn effectively and to reach their potential. So those are the questions. And you know what? If something comes up that isn't related to student achievement, then it's not supposed to be on the table. So it's an interesting process. And what's great is when you get all of your community members mixed together with your board members and your staff and administration and everybody else all combined, and those conversations happen, and they're great conversations. So that's something to look forward to. Okay, so the components, we call it the 3 R's. We used to call it something else, another letter. Now it's the 3 R's for strategic planning, and the goal is to reflect, reimagine, and recalibrate. And as you could tell from the structure, this breaks down how the process will work. And basically, the first step would be the board would decide to do this, right? So the commitment from the board down at the base and the bottom of your pyramid. The next thing would be, and then we talk about the state of the schools. And I'll go through the process in a few minutes a little bit more. But basically, this is how the strategic plan lays out. So the board commits to wanting to do it. Your superintendent will provide at the first meeting a state of the schools. So it's an opportunity for your community to find out exactly where you are, what's happening, good, bad, and indifferent. It's a great opportunity to really put it all out there. And that kicks off the process. Then we go into discussing the strengths and challenges. And then we do a portrait of a learner. So the reflecting part happens in meeting 1. So that's the first 3 tiers of your pyramid. And strengths and challenges, it's always a very popular meeting for the community. They all like to come out and talk about that. And it's pretty easy. And that kind of breaks down it makes, once you get past that, everybody feels like, oh, wait, I can do this. This is easy. And that's the easy part, coming up with the strengths and the challenges. The other nice thing is this takes place in 3 meetings. We usually do 1 a month and spread it out depending on your calendar, these public meetings where we're doing these input sessions. So the first one is, like I said, meeting 1, reflect, where we're talking about strengths and challenges. Then we move on to portrait of a learner. And then we go into goal areas, strategies, and action plans, okay? What I will tell you is when you get to meeting 3 and you're doing the recalibrate part, right? That's where you're coming out with the planning. That's where the public part ends. And when it gets to the action items, that is where your administration steps in, okay? So it's similar to doing district board goals and things like that. It is up to your administration to figure out how these things are going to happen. And that's really important. And so after the third meeting, the administration takes the time to do that. Usually, depending on the timing of the year, it could take a month or two for your administration to come up with that. And then we put everything together, all our findings from the first meeting, which, by the way, we continue to share, right? We share everything on your website every step of the way. So maybe a community member can come to the first one, but they can't come to the second one, but they should feel comfortable to come to the third. Nobody's missing anything. Even if you only come to the third, you have input into the process. We keep everybody moving along, and we keep all of the information public so people can follow it. And again, transparency obviously is the key to the process and keeping people involved. Okay, so this is exciting for school boards. The other thing is we have a new feature now where we give you a district strategic planning dashboard. So once we get to the point where you have your plan, we put that onto a website, which you will put onto your website. And when I say we, it's really you putting the information in. But the key is it allows you to track your progress over 5 years. So it'll basically look like this. You'll have anywhere from 3 to 5 goals when you come out of this for your strategic plan that will take over the 5-year period. And you'll be able to do updates. So your public will be able to see that you're reaching your goals. And everything will be laid out there. So who can participate in the process? You probably got the message already, as I've said a number of times. Everybody can participate. And the key to this is if you're going to move forward with this, the more people you get the word out to, and I will assist you with that. I'm going to give you some materials, but the administration really needs to sell it. You need to get people to be aware of it and get them to be involved in it, because the more people that are involved, the better the strategic plan works out. So you're going to have board members, parents, present and past, future, staff and administrators, students, again, present and past is great, community members, town council, and community businesses. It's your community stakeholders. And it's really important right now to start doing that, and this is the best time to be doing this. After the year that we had with budgets and finances, one of the messages I've been telling to my boards whenever I see them and whenever I get a chance to talk to them, or board members also, is things are changing. And we're not going to be able to do the 2% cap anymore. So either the state is going to change the way they do things, or chances are you're going to be going out to the public for your budgets. And that's how it used to be a long time ago. It was even before. What I didn't mention is I was also a board member for 9 years, so I sat in your seat. I fully understand what you did, but that's even before my time, right? I was not involved when you knew you had to go out and get a budget passed by vote. So that's a big change for board members. And it's important that your board starts to really connect with your community. And when I say your community, because usually the school is the center of the community, you really want to make that connection with individuals that don't necessarily have students in the district, or they need to understand why the schools are the center of a community and what they offer and why they're so important and why they're important to them, even if they're not sending students to the school. And they are. I mean, the school serves as so many different pieces to a community, including what helps with your home sales, right? Your home values and everything else. What's the first thing everybody asks when they're looking for a home? How's the school district? So these are all things that are tied together. And that's why the strategic plan is such a great opportunity for the board to really connect with your community. So student voice is already there. It's not something we give, it's something we honor, and we do it when we listen. So as I mentioned, it's really great to hear student input when you go through this process. And sometimes it's very entertaining, I'm not gonna lie. But the things that they think of that you don't are amazing. And I have heard of strategic plans really taking a turn based on some of the information. I really like when the young students come, because that's really fun, but it really makes you look at certain things in a slightly different way. It may not be the main thing that you're changing, but it gives you as a board member a look into something a little bit different than you normally would see it. Okay, so how can you participate? Okay, so the 3 Rs strategic plan, like I said, a 4 to 5 month process. Everybody attends and actively participates in 3 meetings. And all the board members can participate. And what we end up doing is you do it as a board meeting. You'll have an extra board meeting at that time, but we treat it just like, because of the laws, you would open the meeting, start the meeting, and this would be your meeting, one of these input sessions. You become involved in your schools to the extent you're able, attend board meeting updates on the progress toward achieving the strategic planning goals. So you might see a few more faces in the audience when you start doing this, just to see how things are going, at least while we go through the process. Okay. Did I go too far? Hold on. Nope. I have a delay here. I wanted to put up here, this is just a recent one that we did. So this was a statement from the superintendent. And I literally put this in today because he sent me the note last week. And I said, do you mind if I put it in? Because I'm going out to discuss the strategic plan. That was my first strategic plan that I ever did. So I did it with my mentor. So you see with there on Marianne. And I think the key to it is to hear somebody say, I'll never forget the professional experience that strategic planning was at Norwood. It really is. When you come out of this, I don't want to sound too Pollyanna. It's such a wonderful experience. I love doing it because I love seeing when it comes to fruition. Sometimes boards are nervous because everything's not going to be rosy. We're not going to hear, some people are going to be there complaining. Some people that complain all the time are going to take advantage of this. Trust me. It works out, and it works out really well. People just want to be heard, and it's okay if they have a less than positive opinion, because that's part of the conversation. And what you'll find is within the community, I loved watching at one of these meetings, a parent came in and was adamant that, we need one-to-one devices, and we need to use, forget these Google Chromebooks, we need to use, Apple computers, because that's what they use at the high school. It's a K-8 district, and blah, blah, blah. And I've heard this argument so many times, and I've been on the other side of it, because when I was on my board, I'd hear the same thing. And it was great to hear another parent give the counter view of that and say, but they need to learn different ways to use different computers and stuff like that. So it's okay for them to learn on this and then go to something else. But to watch the parents interact and have that conversation, that's not an opportunity you see that often. So that's another benefit of the process, that parents get to speak to each other and see different perspectives. And that's it. That's what I have. So questions? Start here.
I mean, this is a very broad question, you might not be able to answer, but what are some typical goals that, are we pulling one goal that we're working towards, 5 goals?
It's usually 3 to 5.
What is the typical?
So it's funny how it all kind of flows out, right? So there's going to be things, usually something's going, a lot of times there's a facility item. Sometimes there's 2 facility items depending on the district, right? And what situation you are in. There's usually a lot of conversation around when you come to high schools, AP courses, honors courses, things like that. Obviously curriculum, teacher retention is a big one these days, right? And the whole thing that comes around that, is it, teacher retention, but hiring and all that kind of stuff. Those are just some examples. You can look, I can get you some websites to look at of strategic plans that we have done, so you can kind of see that. But I don't want to, it really just naturally falls out. And I will tell you, I was skeptical the first time I did it. When I did it with Marianne, I'm like, what happens if this goes in a direction we don't want? The other thing you have to remember too, this is a fluid process, okay? So if you commit to 5 goals, and something changes drastically, and I love to throw out COVID as the example, right? It's okay to amend those goals. It's okay that, matter of fact, one of the boards that I worked with recently, something came out about doing something with their field or whatever the case may be. That was one of their goals. And it came back, we can't do that. We cannot physically do what we said in here we wanted to do because blah, 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 and whatever it was something with maybe drainage easements or things like that. And at the end of the day, that's okay too. It's okay as long as you're transparent and you show the community, we heard you, this is what we wanted to do, we were behind it, but it can't be done. Or finances change, right? The budget, and that means it might change the process. And that's okay, as long as you are transparent about it and continuing to take the main idea of why you were doing what you were doing. So how can you change that to make it still fulfill what your community is looking for? Yes, Rich?
A couple of questions. So, just to make sure the change that I've had before, I completely understand all of it. These sessions are basically to give us ideas of what all stakeholders want. So we could come out of this with 20 different topics, and the board is going to choose that 3 to 5.
No, nope. No, the group does it. And again, remember, you're part of this process. Board members are part of the process. And what we do is by the time we get to meeting, I believe it's the end of meeting 2, we are looking for things that are common. And you're looking for the majority perspective from individuals. It's kind of interesting the way they fall into buckets. And it truly is a group feedback, and we'll go through things and we yell out within the group. Like, so we're listing them and, okay, what can we group together here? Where do we see? And then you're coming up with a broader goal based on that. And not everything's going to fit in there, but it is not, the process is done through the entire group. Anybody who shows up is part of that process. The beauty of it for board members as well as staff and I just everybody in general, you're hearing different perspectives that you wouldn't normally hear. But at the end of the day, when this process is complete, the board is the one that approves the final plan. And they approve the final plan after the action steps are all put into it. But there's buy-in along the way. We're not looking at one rogue person doesn't throw an idea in there. It is the majority of the district. And again, it's realistic. If a group of people are asking for something that cannot be done, it's not financially, just not capable to do it, or some other reasons, physically you can't do it, or, any of those type of things, you don't need to do it. You're not tied to it.
Being that it's open board meetings that we're starting off with, as board members, besides just listening and hearing, we interact and can speak and ask questions.
Oh yeah, you're completely part of it. I always recommend, so the way it works, and everybody hates this, I'm not gonna lie, so I hate to tell you up front, but when you come in, we randomize everybody. So as people come in and they sign, we collect all their information and we give credit to everybody. The reason we collect everybody's information is their name's gonna be on that final report. We list every single person who has shown up to participate. And we randomize it. So when you get like 3 people that came in together, our goal is to break them up and put them in different areas because you don't want group ideas. You want individual ideas and you want that conversation to take place because that's what makes this work so well. So even with board members, you're going to want to divide them up. You're going to want, and the way, if you can picture it, you usually do it like in a cafeteria or in a big room. We like to have the tables all spread out and we assign tables. When you come in, you get your name tag, you get a table and you go to that table. I'm not gonna lie, some people move around and they don't necessarily follow it, but it's all right. The majority of people do follow the rules and it really works out well.
And the last question I have is, what is the difference between the standard program and the 3R program?
So I'm recommending the 3R program. I have not done the standard program, but if you wanted to do it, we certainly could because it wouldn't just be me, it would be other FSRs doing it with me, but it's a weekend process. Like it's a long weekend process. So it's like Friday, Saturday kind of deal. And it's very intense and it's more involved as well. Nowadays, I feel like this works well because it gives people 3 different opportunities to come. They're not necessarily coming to all 3, although some people do, besides board members. And it just gives you a little bit better perspective. If you do one weekend, it's very intense. And again, it's a little bit more involved with different pieces. And the other thing too is it tends to come out with a committee that does the action plans, which most districts prefer that the administration does the action plans. And I personally think that's a lot smarter because it's easier to be able to make sure you can follow through on all that stuff. So yeah, there are two options. I'm recommending the 3R.
And then what is your involvement through the process?
So I am the facilitator, basically. Depending on the amount of people that we have coming out, I still might be coming with somebody else. And what we do is I will start by supporting the administration with getting communications together to send out to the community and making sure that we're getting all that information out. We will talk about a web page because you're going to want to set up a web page. I will work with the administration to come up with a full calendar because even though we're only talking about 3 meetings, there's still a process to this, right? And we want to make sure that they work, that you don't have overlaps with school plays or school concerts and things like that. So we want to look for the optimal dates. And then once we have that calendar together, that my next step is basically I facilitate the entire process. So I will come the first meeting and I will go through basically what we just went through here for the public so that they understand the process. I will support the superintendent who will give the state of the school address. And then I also set up all the tables and put all the materials out and, collect it all. Then usually within 24 to 48 hours, I provide the feedback back to the administration of everything that we captured, right? All the feedback that we've captured. And we try to get that up on the website within the week if possible. So I put that together per meeting. And then in the end, all of that stuff that we've now put together, I then put together into a booklet similar to the one that you have, a little thicker, which then all of this information goes up on the website. I present the board. Well, I provide that to the administration. The administration then takes their part and they put together the action plans. And then I present the whole package to the board for approval at the end. It's generally a 4 to 6 month process. But those are all the things that happen throughout. Good. Any other questions? Good. Go ahead.
We're customarily meeting once a month. Regular business.
Right.
So would you suggest having a second meeting?
Yeah. Because you're not going to do any board business generally. That being said, you could, if you run into a situation where you want, because I've had boards do that you're together anyway, and you'll finish that out. But the main objective is to do the meeting. And to be perfectly honest with you, if you don't have a full board, you don't necessarily need to open the meeting. So we actually decide that evening, unless you have commitment that you're going to have a quorum. Because obviously if you have quorum, we want to make sure that we're meeting the guidelines. You still have to give notice anyway. So that's pretty much how the process works. And you also have to open up for public comment. But to be honest with you, I have not seen any issues. I have seen districts where this meeting, one of your input sessions, might line up with a school-wide issue where you have the full, and then I would recommend that we would amend that meeting date, because what you don't want to do is turn that input session into that kind of a meeting. The focus gets lost. So that's the only, I'm fully transparent in all sorts of things that could happen. But generally, it runs very smoothly, and we're good at that. And that's what my role is, to facilitate it and make sure it does move smoothly. Okay. Good. Thank you. Thanks for having me. Okay, there's your clicker.
We're going to move on to the Board Administrator's Report.
Good evening, everyone. I have a very brief report this evening. With the school year having come to a close, July brings a number of important tasks for the business office. Payroll continues as usual throughout the summer, but accounts payable becomes significantly more active and more complex because we are working within 2 fiscal years simultaneously. We are paying the remaining obligations for the 2025-2026 school year, while also finalizing contracts and establishing purchase orders for the 2026-27 school year. As of today, the business office is already processing approximately 500 purchase orders for the upcoming school year. Being only 2 weeks into July, we are not yet ready to close out our books for June. Because June marks the end of the fiscal year, we take additional time to carefully review all financial activity to ensure the books are closed accurately and are ready for our annual audit by Lerch, Vinci, and Bliss. As a result, there are only 2 finance items on tonight's agenda that I would like to highlight. Item F1 is the approval of the bills list covering June 16th through today, July 13th. Item F2 is our monthly certification that the district's budget remains balanced. We will present the June board secretary's report, treasurer's report, and budget transfers at our next board meeting on August 24th. After, we will have completed the necessary year-end closing procedures. That concludes my report. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Lisa. On to Mr. Albro with the superintendent's report.
Good evening. Obviously, this is the first meeting since we closed our school year. I'm pleased to say that we had a great ending of the year. All of our culminating ceremonies went off without a hitch. Weather cooperated relatively, and now we're in our 3rd week of our summer programs at the Doyle School. They're being very well attended, and I appreciate the parents committing to that. Staff's doing a wonderful job, and the children are enjoying it every single day. That program will run through July 30th. It's running Monday through Thursday. It does not meet on Fridays. On our agenda this evening, I have a few items I just wish to highlight. In board operations number 1, I'm pleased to report that the state of New Jersey has awarded us an interim placement of high performing in our June 2026 CUSAC report. And what that means basically is the initial review has indicated that we've met the standards, and now we will wait for a formal letter from the state officially awarding us that status. We also approving tonight the ability to apply for and receive our title funding. And our title funding this is federal funding, this is not state funding, so it only can be used for certain things. While it's a little bit less of a quantity than in the past, we tend to budget for a more dire situation when it comes to title funds, so we're pleased to get these amounts, and we'll be sure to use them effectively. Also, you'll notice this evening, Title III works with multilingual learners. That's one of our federal funding sources, and the rule is if your district is not awarded at least $10,000 in that type of aid, you have to join with other districts. So in other words, they don't want a whole bunch of districts at different amounts. They want to have at least $10,000. So we are going to join in a consortium, which we did last year as well, with the Rochelle Park School District and the Moonachie School District. Last year, it was the Moonachie District that served as the lead, took care of all the paperwork, and this year, Woodridge will take over that position and take care of all the paperwork with the state. Our application for all of these funds are due at the end of July, and we're working on it presently. The last thing I want to talk about this evening is one of our policies and regulations. If you recall, Governor Murphy, before leaving office, put in effect a law concerning the ban of student-held internet-enabled devices, basically cell phones and the like. And it was about 10 days ago that we formally received from our policy-making body a template for the board to consider in terms of how we're going to interpret this regulation moving forward. The bottom line essentially is it is a bell-to-bell ban on these devices. What that means is once the first bell of the day rings, all devices are away, and they're not coming out again until the end of the school day at dismissal. So now the board has this first reading of the policy and regulation. Of course, it's open for public comment. Barring any changes, we'll meet in August again and approve and adopt it because we are bound by law to adopt the policy and regulation by September 1st. What our administrator is doing right now is hammering out the procedures. There are many different choices for a district. You can put them in central lockers. You can have them stay in student lockers. You can have them go in these special security packs they're building right now. The district is looking at all the possibilities, and we'll have something to roll out to everybody at the August meeting. And we're obliged to address students. We're obliged to address parents, anyone who might have a question or concern about the implementation of this policy. This policy will now fall under our code of conduct, so there are tiered consequences for failing to abide by the fact that you can't have an internet-enabled device outside of your school-issued device. So it will continue to be where you cannot bring your personal laptop into the building using your one-to-one that the school issues. In addition to, you cannot have your own personal device. So you can look for a rollout of what our procedures will be at our next board meeting, in addition to every principal, each building will send out to their parents and to the students almost the same thing, because we'll be getting started for school in that first week of September. Mr. Biamonte, that concludes my report.
Thank you, Mr. Albro. Upon the recommendation of the superintendent, the Board of Education approved the minutes of the following meeting, June 15, 2026. Roll call.
Motion.
Oh, motion. Mr. Fallon, second. Ms. Milano, roll call.
Mr. Fallon,
Yes.
Mr. Garvin.
Yes.
Mrs. Milano,
Yes.
Mr. Biamonte.
Yes. Thank you for that. All right, we're going to go through the resolutions. Do you mind if I just go right through them? All right, thank you. Curriculum instruction, we have approval to amend transportation, a field trip request, a student teachers classroom observation field experience internship, ordering CST curriculum assessment, ordering CST prize booklets, approval to purchase equipment, ordering CST protocol testing materials for the 26-27 school year, approval ordering CST speech department protocol testing materials online, scoring for the 26-27 school year, ordering CST Q Global online scoring for next school year, approval of extended school year 2026 in-district school student additions, and the approval of student teachers, classrooms observation field experience internship. Personnel, we have approval of personnel appointment for curriculum writing, personnel appointment, another personnel appointment, extended school year 2026 staffing for in-district. We also have coaching appointments, another personnel appointment for district substitutes for the 2026. Approval of a resignation. We have approval of the Woodridge High School co-curricular appointments for the 2026-2027 school year, and the approval of personnel reappointment for 2026-2027 districts substitutes. Policy, we have policy and regulation, approval of policies and one regulation. Building and grounds, we have 2 approvals for facility requests. Finance, we have the bills list, certification of balanced budget, and the approval of the fundraisers. Board operations, like Mr. Albro mentioned, the June 2026, the acceptance of the June 2026 New Jersey Quality Single Accountability Continuum, also known as NJQSAC, and then also approval of submission of district website, accessibility statement of assurance for 2027 school year, approval to apply for and accept the ESSA funds for the fiscal year 2027, approval to join in a Title III consortium for next school year, and that concludes all the resolutions.
Mr. Albro, question. Policy 6 on page 11, is that supposed to be 26, 27 substitutes, or is that approving stuff from last calendar year?
Could you repeat the question, please?
Oh, on the personnel?
Personnel 6, page 11.
Yeah, I saw that, yep. For
Personnel-
district substitutes, should that be for next school year, or it says 2025, 2026? Personnel item 6.
Yes, these individuals are members of our staff that were reduced as paraprofessionals. You are correct. I will have that amended in the minutes to 26, 27. We're offering those individuals the opportunity to serve as a substitute in our district.
Thank you, Mr. Fallon, for catching that. Okay. Okay, so we have curriculum instruction 2 and 3. Actually, we had to open up the hearing of citizens, right? Hearing of citizens for the resolutions. Anyone? Hearing none, seeing none. Close the hearing citizens for the resolutions. So includes Moonaki. We have curriculum instruction 2 and 3, personnel 5 through 9, 1, 2, 5 through 9. Then we have policy and regulation 1 and 2, buildings and grounds 2, finance 1, 2, and 3, board operations 1 through 4. Motion? Mr. Garvin, Mr. Fallon, roll call.
Mr. Fallon,
Yes.
Mr. Garvin,
Yes.
Mrs. Milano,
Yes.
Mr. Biamonte.
Yes. Woodridge only. We have curriculum instruction 4 through 11. We have personnel 3 and 4. Policy and regulation, we have none. Buildings and grounds, 1, none for finance, and none for board operations. Motion, Ms. Milano. Second, Mr. Garvin. Roll call.
Mr. Fallon,
Yes.
Mr. Garvin,
Yes.
Mrs. Milano,
Yes.
Mr. Biamonte.
Yes. We're going to move on to new business. Any new business? Any communications? Any unfinished business?
I just wanted to thank you for entertaining the school board with the strategic plan. I'll share the information with Albert. I hope you guys will as well. Hopefully we can have some discussions for the next meeting.
Yeah, thanks for setting that up, Mr. Fallon. That was very interesting.
I just wanted to add, it's a lot of the county sessions and the state sessions that I've been through for training and whatnot, it is really a very thorough process. And it is very helpful, I think, for us as board members to try to completely gauge whether we have people show up or don't. But at least we get some input from the community to help direct us in the right direction.
Agreed. All right. So no unfinished business? All right. And we're going to open up the hearing of citizens for anything you want to talk about. Okay. Mike, anything online? No. Closing hearing of citizens. Entertain a motion to adjourn. Mr. Fallon, second. Ms. Milano.
Mr. Monte, you did an outstanding job tonight.
Thank you, sir. I appreciate that. Meeting adjourned. Thank you.